What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. Super excited about today's video. This is a story that we never finished off, but I had really wanted to. Now, the OG fans, if you've been around a while, you've been reading comics a while, you're gonna know this story, because this is the darkest Spider-Man story ever written. Spider-Man, Spider's Shadow, the full story arc. This is the what-if story on how Spider-Man becomes a murderer. This story answering the question, if your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man finally snapped, what would that look like? Now, as we jump into these pages, this is going to be taking place during Amazing Spider-Man number 258. Just a reference point to get an idea of where this is in the Spider-Man timeline. But as we have Peter Parker waking up, he's waking up from a horrible nightmare, one that has just continued to get worse. Add on top of this, the immense amount of stress he has been dealing with. Aunt May no longer talking to him. Ever since he dropped out of school, they haven't been on talking terms. Add in the fact he's been messing with both MJ and Black Cat. His life's a little bit messy, it's a little bit complicated. And last but not least, is Spider-Man's new suit. The easiest thing in his life has been this suit. At this point, he doesn't know what this is. This alien material. All he knows is that he doesn't have to clean it, that it's got unlimited webbing. It responds to his thoughts, and it can even mimic other clothing. And Peter recognizes that this suit isn't really friendly or even neighborhood. It's rather menacing. It does have a level of fear that it strikes into people. So as Spider-Man goes swinging around the city, he does what he does best. Taking down some thugs that are trying to rob an old lady. While he's fighting them, we see an anger come out in Peter. Not usually so quick to hostility. He's found himself rather tired lately because of the lack of sleep. And so he heads home trying to get some more rest. But as soon as he lays down his head, those nightmares return. But today when he woke up, as he thrashed about, he accidentally hit MJ. MJ had simply come to check up on him, to see how he's doing. But after telling him that it's fine, she's letting him know that she's coming to kind of apologize. She had walked out the other day finding out that he's Spider-Man. This has been hard for her. It is not an easy thing for her to accept. She wanted to run from it. At the end of the day, though, she can see that Peter is unraveling. And while he says he is fine, she knows that he's not. You're not sleeping, and you have this darker aspect to you. Even the new look of yours. Now, Peter, he tells her, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm gonna figure it out. As he goes swinging through the city, he tries to decipher all of this in his head, trying to figure out what his best course of action is. Thinking maybe it's time that Reed Richards finally checks out my new suit. But before he gets the opportunity to do so, we have Hobgoblin. He comes in to ruin Spider-Man's day. Recently, he has been a massive thorn in the side of Spider-Man. As this fight goes on, we see this Spider-Man, he's more violent. He's more dangerous. We see him grab an entire car and fling it right on top of Hobgoblin. Spider-Man tells him that I'm tired of this. I'm tired of you. Finally unmasking Hobgoblin. He sees that it is Roderick Kingsley, and he beats the crap out of him, telling him you hurt people, you terrorize them all for more power. And he tells him that you don't know power. I am power. Throwing him down to the ground, telling him that if I put you in prison, you would be out in no time. So from here on out, I want you to spread the word. From this day forward, Spider-Man is playing for keeps. Obviously, very big words coming from Spider-Man, but Peter knows that he didn't actually mean this. It's just his anger. It's his frustration, dealing with so much and having so much going on. He can feel the weight of the world on his shoulders. The burden, it appears, it is becoming too much to bear. But as we pick up on a rooftop with Black Cat, they try to have a moment here, but if Peter's being honest with himself, he's just feeling angry. Angry at the world. Angry at all the bad guys. And while Black Cat almost supports what he had done to Hobgoblin, Peter knows that sending this message, it could help out. But this is also not how he normally does things. Add on top of the fact that the suit kind of messed up earlier on its webbing. So maybe it's time that Mr. Fantastic find out what this thing truly is. And so as we pick up at the Baxter building, Mr. Fantastic begins to scan. And while they're playing it cool, even Johnny Storm is recognizing that there is something up with Peter. Spider-Man is not his regular self. There's something weird about him, something off. While Peter had dozed off while all these scans were ongoing, when Mr. Fantastic wakes him up, Peter apologizes, saying that he forgot to mention the nightmares. And Reed lets him know that this makes sense, because your suit, it reacts to your thoughts, but you are also reacting to your suit's thoughts. It is bonding to Spider-Man, both mentally and physically. This is not some advanced material. It is a symbiote, a sentient being. And of course, Reed says, obviously, I suggest removing it immediately so that we can do further examination. But like an addict, Peter says, does this really need to happen? Is it really necessary to take the suit? Because honestly, I feel really clear. And if this thing is alive, is that it has a right to make the choice just like I do. It chose to be with me, and I'm choosing to be with it. That it shouldn't be kept in this prison here so you can experiment on it. And though Mr. Fantastic goes to stop him, Spidey tells him don't even try it. And so Reed, Johnny, they back off. Now Peter, obviously, he's not feeling himself. He knows that they were just trying to help, but he doesn't need a scientist. What he thinks he needs is just rest. But the nightmares, they haven't been like this since after Uncle Ben had died. He knows that he's gotta go back home. He's gotta go talk to Aunt May, with the two of them sitting down having some tea. The two of them, they're really able to work their stuff out, both apologizing to one another and trying to rekindle this. But while they have this conversation, the spider senses go off. The wall behind Peter explodes, and from that explosion is Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin had followed him, took the fight directly to him, and Spider-Man at this point, he's like, how dare you? You come to my house. But Hobgoblin, he says that you started this. You unmasked me. You threatened me. You ruined the game. You ruined all the fun that we had. With Spider-Man laying down some hate. He smashes Hobgoblin up, but in his anger, in his fury, he wasn't paying attention to the flames. Only when his spider senses go off did he sense it. Aunt May is still inside. The house is burning down. And as Spider-Man goes to rush in, the symbiote won't let him. The fire, it fears it. And so while the house burns, the suit apologizes to Peter, but then it points the blame. It points the blame at Hobgoblin, as Hobgoblin tries to get away, recognizing that Peter lost it, that this was a mistake. He tries to go away. He tries to leave, but Peter, using his webbing, he wraps him up. And Peter thinks about everybody that he has lost, everybody that has died. And now Aunt May has been added to that list. And so Peter grabs Hobgoblin's face, thumbs pressed into his eyes. Peter can finally stop the ones he loves from dying. He finally has the power to, and it is time that he finally uses it. This is where we see Spider-Man kill Hobgoblin. And Peter thinks to himself that he had it all wrong, that he has power, he has responsibility. But now what is that responsibility? He's always believed it's to save people, to keep them safe, but he's never kept them safe, not really. He's pretended to, putting men like Goblin's Mask in prison. But prison for them was always like a vacation, an opportunity to plot and plan. And those plans, they can lead to murder. Just like Gwen Stacy, just like her father, just like Aunt May, just like the robber that gunned down Uncle Ben. And his suit lets him know that that was your responsibility. But now, we're gonna carry this responsibility together. If Peter is being honest with himself, he thought taking Hobgoblin's life would feel worse. But what he does feel is shame. He doesn't want people to find out. He doesn't want Mary Jane to find out. He fears what they will think about him. Though his suit would argue that if people knew, people would fear. And if people fear, no one's gonna do any wrong. But Peter's fear is already coming to light. The Daily Bugle has it on the front page. Threat or murderer? Spider-Man spotted murdering Roderick Kingsley. And with this being front page news, that means the big man's gonna hear about it. Picking us up with Kingpin after he's heard the news of Spider-Man. This is unfortunate. Now, the only thing that made Superman or superheroes tolerable was their moral codes. They were never any real danger. His criminal empire, it can handle a 5% deficit due to Spider-Man's interference. But what it cannot tolerate is his death, which means he's gonna start making some calls. Because if Spider-Man is out here killing people, it's time to take Spider-Man off the board. This is what takes us over to Jonah Jameson at the Daily Bugle. We have Spider-Man who is breaking in his window when Jonah screams for the cops to be called, that a murderer has just broken in. Spider-Man tells him to do it, that I don't care anymore, that this is what you wanted. You've been whipping up the city for years, telling them I'm a criminal, but the truth is all I ever did was help people. Now we get what we both want. As he breaks Jonah's hand, he tells Jonah that I'm gonna help a lot more people now, and I'm gonna be a criminal while doing it. And he tells Jonah that if I see one more word about me in your little paper, I'm gonna break your other hand. And at this point, there's rumors out there about what is going on with Spider-Man. No one's been able to truly confirm what happened, but the Fantastic Four, they're searching for him. They keep hearing stories on the streets. Spider-Man threatening people, or simply taking away criminals and them disappearing. And Reed is concerned. The symbiote may be close to permanently bonding with him, as in this will never be reversible. As Johnny scours the city, he looks for any sign of him. We pick up with Peter in his apartment. After Mary Jane had read the papers, she came to check on him, came to see what the heck is going on. And this is where Peter tells her that he could have saved Aunt May if he had made this decision earlier. If he had made the decision on who's to live, who is to die, Hobgoblin, a piece of trash underworld killer, or Aunt May, the nicest person that I have ever known. It's all decisions. And now Peter, he has the power to make these decisions, which means it's time that he finally is going to make them. And if he's being honest with himself, he can't stand that MJ knows he's a murderer, knows what he's done. The suit tries to tell him that humans, they're not gonna understand. They live in fear of their choices. And now you're much more than human. As Spider-Man goes swinging off, this is when he gets blindsided by Shocker as he tries to attack Spider-Man. Spidey has always been too quick for this guy, but Shocker also didn't come alone. This is where we have the arrival of Scorpion, and these guys recognize very quickly that something is up with Spider-Man. No little one-liner jokes, not having fun with it, like he's taking it very serious. These guys really don't believe that Spider-Man's changed. They think it's all smoke and mirrors. That is, until he kills Scorpion. And at this point, Shocker, he's like, oh my god, Fisk was right. And that is what takes us to Wilson Fisk, dropping the body parts of both Scorpion and Shocker before him. Fisk says that I wasn't expecting you so soon, but goes on to tell him that when you had murdered Hobgoblin, I did some research on you. They researched the woman who died in the fire, May Parker. To provoke such a reaction from you, it had to be someone close to you. And so our best guess is that you are a man by the name of Peter Parker. Fisk began to investigate, but he had nobody close to him. No other family members. No wife, no real girlfriend, nobody he could threaten. Such an incredibly sad existence. That you have no one, Peter Parker. Anyone that you have ever loved is dead. And this is where Peter takes his fist and he pummels Kingpin to death. This is where we see the rogue gallery of Spider-Man. Doc Ock, Mysterio, Kraven, Electro, Rhino, all of them are here. And after hearing the news, they know what's coming for them. With Fisk dead, Shocker dead, Scorpion dead, Spider-Man is coming for them. And with Jonah Jameson confirming all this information, saying that he hates all of them, but Spider-Man is the most dangerous villain of them all, they are all in agreement. The Sinister Six are gonna take out Spider-Man, but as Doc Ock is sitting here working, one of his most trusted guards isn't actually his guard. A knife driven into his back. The true identity of this man is none other than Eddie Brock. and he tells Doc Ock as he dies that I can't have you just going and killing Spider-Man when that is my job. And so this is where we pick up with them all meeting up. Obviously, they're all thrown off when it's not Doc Ock that shows up. But at the same time, if they're gonna take on Spider-Man, it doesn't matter. Eddie Brock now having the arms of Doc Ock. He essentially just took Octavius's place. But they've set their trap, and now it's just a matter of waiting. And Spider-Man, he's headed right for them. At this point, the Avengers, Captain America, they're all involved. There are 11 dead men in the wake of Peter Parker. After Fisk had sent men to assassinate Spider-Man, they're afraid that he's never gonna stop at this point. But the way Peter sees it, for too long, he let these guys run rampant. Monsters and cowards alike. Much like Beetle. And Beetle, he gave up information. Now he's gonna go take down the Sinister Six in an effort in the overall goal of saving people. You take the scum out, they can't hurt anybody. That is the logic that he is using. But when Jonah goes outside to look around the perimeter, what they find is Beetle strung up in the trees. And so the Sinister Six, they jump into action as they activate their goggles, able to see reality while the image inducers are set up. Mysterio does his thing, but as they look around, they can't find Spider-Man. It's almost as if he's gone, as if he ran into the forest. And as Kraven looks down, Spider-Man is in the ground. We see the webs of the symbiote coming out and breaking the shield of Mysterio's helmet, taking him out first and taking out his illusions. Spider-Man rises up from the ground, and Spider-Man, he's like, this was your trap. After all the times, after all these years, I have fought you guys. How many times I have stopped you guys. This is your play. And so when Eddie Brock goes in, Eddie Brock's like, you've never fought me. Spider-Man says, I don't even know who you are. As they continue to fight, we see Jonah in a giant suit. This throws him off. Did not expect this in the slightest bit. Add in the fact that the barn is on fire. This battle just shifted. And Jonah telling him that after all these years, I tried to make you stop, but now you're giving me no choice. This is where we see Peter actually breaking out. We see his actual face, and he's begging for Jonah to help him. With a fiery explosion, Jonah is able to get Spider-Man out of there. The suit apparently no longer on his body. But when Kraven goes to put down Peter for good, Jonah clocks him over the head. And he thinks like, damn it, Peter. Why did it have to be you? As he loads Spider-Man into the van, they go taking off. And Jonah, after Peter wakes up, he tells him like everyone's dead, all except for Kraven and Brock Ock. But Kraven was knocked out cold, and Brock probably needs to go to the hospital. And now that the suit is off of Peter, he's saying that the only thing he truly remembers is flashes. He remembers flashes of Scorpion, of Shockers, of so many others. And so from what Peter is saying, he didn't do this. The suit turned him into a monster. But they believe that that thing, it must have died in the fire. More than that, he doesn't think it is dead. He can feel it in his head, in his heart. He believes this thing is still alive. But Jonah getting him back to his apartment in New York. This is where they find MJ and Black Cat. Both of them have been out here looking. Neither of them have been able to find him. Both just thankful that he's alive. But Peter tells him like, I couldn't break free of the suit. And to be honest, I don't know if I even wanted to. But they tell Peter that there's not any time. They have to get him out of here, and they have to do it now. Because the cops, they just left here. Almost certain that they're watching this place. It seems that Wilson Fisk, he had one last move. In the event of his death, Spider-Man's identity would go public. With the cops surrounding the building, we pick up in the Baxter building. We see that our symbiote, it was able to get free, and they're not blaming Peter Parker. In fact, it says it wasn't his fault. They loved Peter, and Peter loved it. Everything started to fall apart here at the Baxter building with the smart man. And so now the symbiote, it is gonna save everybody. As we see Reed Richards taken over by this symbiote, having the thing hooked up to a machine, it appears to be synthesizing more of the symbiotes. And so as we hop over to Peter, Jonah, MJ, and Black Cat, they're all on the rooftop trying to make their escape. Peter knows that the alien suit is still out there, and if it's still out there, he needs to find it. Peter taking MJ out of here, and Black Cat getting Jonah out of here. As Peter goes swinging through the city, what he sees is the Baxter Building, home of the Fantastic Four, and it looks like the suit has gotten there already. And Peter thinks, like, what have I done? MJ tries to comfort him, tries to let him know that this isn't your fault, that you didn't know the suit was gonna do this, that it would have this effect on you. You didn't know that that suit was evil. But Peter tells her, I don't know if that's the thing. Like, I don't know if it's actually evil or if it just heightened how I was feeling. But as Peter goes in, he meets up with Captain America, Iron Man, all the others. They're sitting outside the Baxter Building trying to figure out what they're gonna do. They're trying to assess what this alien thing wants. With Spider-Man coming up, he says that it wants me. Now at this point, Johnny comes up to him and is like, how dare you? All of this is your fault. That if you had listened to Reed, none of us would be in this mess. But Sue is able to break this up, saying that we gotta focus on saving everyone in the Baxter Building. We have to figure out what we're up against. The only thing he truly knows is that it has a weakness to fire. The only problem, whatever substance it is now impervious to whatever they throw on it. Based on initial observations, they suspect the symbiote has taken control of Reed and used his brain to make the symbiote substance stronger. Peter can hear it calling to him. It wants him to come inside. And Cap tells him, like, whatever that thing is inside that made you commit murders, if it is talking to you, I can't let you go in, because that is the last thing we need, is for it to get a hold of you again. This is where Peter, he takes off his mask. He's like, I know that a lot of you kind of see me as a joke, but I'm telling you right now, man to man, face to face, that thing is never taking hold of me again. And so the plan is to send in Johnny to send in Peter to see if they can together find a way to take this down. With Johnny's fire and it wanting Spider-Man, the idea is to use Peter as bait, and Johnny, he just fries it. But as they go inside, Mary Jane had followed behind, needing to get up to the top floor. They hop into the elevator shaft. But as they make their way up, Johnny runs into an old friend. Clobbering his way through, we have the Thing, taken over by a symbiote. Ben comes crashing down through this shaft. The Human Torch was able to blast himself onto another room, onto another level, and get out of the way. Peter, on the other hand, he wasn't able to get out of the way. And so he gets hit like a freight train all the way back down to the lobby. Having no other option, Spider-Man takes on the Thing. And when he's fighting the Thing, Peter knows that he doesn't have to pull punches. The truth is, Ben can take every single one of these hits, webbing up his face so that he can't see. Peter's definitely getting his blows in, but he's not at 100%. With the Thing hitting him, possibly breaking one of his ribs, he finally recognizes that he might be out of his league. And so, he shoots the Thing outside, throws him outside to get a little bit of assistance. This is where he is met by the Avengers, She-Hulk, and the X-Men. And so as they handle him, we have Spider-Man making his way back up to the top floor. Johnny's already found himself against the symbiote that has taken Reed Richards. Except this symbiote, not being dumb, put himself into a suit, protecting himself from Johnny's flames. And this is when the symbiote presses a button. Using Reed Richards' big brain, he created more symbiotes, one that are resistant to things like flame and so on and so forth. Releasing his children onto the world, it takes over our heroes. It takes over the Avengers. As Peter tries to make his way to the top floor, Johnny has been getting his butt kicked. MJ fires around, but it doesn't do anything. She's just trying to protect Johnny. And Spider-Man's trying to make his way there, while we see all our heroes infected. With MJ causing a distraction, Johnny was able to grab hold of her, and they hightail it out of here. Recognizing they're out of their league, they're not going to be able to take this fight on. He goes to get MJ to safety. Peter, on the other hand, he knows he can't take on all these heroes, but lucky for him, all the heroes, they flood out as they chase after MJ. Even Reed Richards is going after her. This is the person that Peter loves. If the symbiote can get hold of her, it can get hold of Peter. But this gives Peter the opportunity to get into the lab, to find a way to kill the symbiotes. As he investigates, it looks like all the other symbiotes are being controlled by Reed. They were all synthesized using elements of the main symbiotes. So if he's able to stop the main one, the other ones should drop down, just like vampires taking out the original one, telling Johnny that he needs him to get back here as soon as possible. Sue Storm is letting Johnny be able to make his getaway while she holds off Reed and everybody else. But against the might of Thor, Invisible Woman simply wasn't strong enough. With Reed being able to get his hands on his wife, he takes over her as well. This is what takes us atop the Baxter building. Spider-Man has come up here. Reed Richards along with all the other heroes. They tell Peter that you must give up at this point. Make this easy because at this point, I'm so much stronger now. You can't fight me. You can't fight all of us. And so this is where Peter tells him that if you let everybody go, if you let Mary Jane live, if you stop possessing the other heroes, I'll come with you willingly. With the symbiote agreeing, it reaches out to grab hold of Peter, but one last thing saying that it cannot allow Reed Richards to live. And so it kills Reed, and as Reed falls to his death, Spider-Man jumps back inside to the Baxter building. But the symbiote, he's not concerned about this fleeing, saying that you're just denying the inevitable. It is only a matter of time before you are now mine. And so as it grabs hold of him, it is already too late before the symbiote recognizes this is not Peter Parker. This is Johnny Storm using an image inducer. With Johnny saying flame on, we see the top of the Baxter building explode in flame, and in an instant, all of our heroes are free from the grasp of the symbiotes. They are free, but Reed Richards has lost his life. In the weeks to come, there would be a trial. Spider-Man had to turn himself in, his identity released to the world. He couldn't go into hiding, but after many of the other world's heroes had also been taken over by the symbiote, unable to control themselves, they all vouched for Spider-Man, and the jury, they found him not guilty. But it doesn't change the fact, the burden that weighs on his soul. This is when Sue Storm comes to him. And if she's being honest, things have been hard for her. They're still picking up the pieces. But she wanted him to know that Reed's death wasn't his fault. That no hero is a stranger to tragedy. Their first one that they experienced was their rocket flight that gave them their powers, that turned Ben into the Thing. Reed had almost died just from the guilt of that alone, but instead of succumbing to it, he did something remarkable. He took his tragedy, he took that guilt, and he turned it into something good. He helped Ben, he helped all of them become heroes. He reminded them all what the other side of tragedy is really all about, what the meaning is all about. And so she wants to move through this together as a team. She is inviting Spider-Man to be part of the Fantastic Four. The good, the bad, it all brings us to where we are. And we get to decide where we're going. For Peter Parker, the nightmares are finally over. But the future is gonna be fantastic. As we get an epilogue, our epilogue picks us up with Wilson Fisk. Everybody thought that he was dead, but the stubborn man simply didn't die. And his guys have been working in the lab. Apparently, they were able to get hold of something, telling Fisk that you don't have to worry about staying alive and getting your revenge on Parker, because with the symbiote that we have, you can get both. And that will be the end of this series. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. This is arguably one of the best iterations of a Dark Spider-Man we have ever got. There's no question about it. Chip Zdarsky, absolutely nailed it with Spider Shadow. It's a Spider-Man who's lost everything. Anything and everything that he loves pretty much taken from him. The only thing he really had was MJ and Black Cat, though that was a kind of mess up on their part, saying that Wilson Fisk did research and didn't find them. Find that hard to believe, but for the sake of argument, Peter lost everything. No friends, no family, no nothing. And so in his anger, in his sadness, Spider-Man allowed the symbiote to take control of him, let it consume him, and that darkness led to him being a murderer, led to the fall of many heroes, of many villains, but a chance, a hope at redemption by Spider-Man becoming part of the Fantastic Four. Brilliantly written, the artwork wasn't the toppest of notches, but for the story, I think it really does it some justice. It's fitting. But let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you want to get caught up on everything that is going on with this story, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It's going to get you caught up on anything that is going on with Spider-Man. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership. Much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.